Hello and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be playing some more Paranormasight, the Seven Mysteries of Honjo. So at the end of the last episode we got introduced to the story tree, whatever it was called. Basically we can go back to a previous chapter and choose a different path for us, with sort of forearmed with the knowledge that we can bring from having done these ones. So we're going to go back to the only one that's available to us, as far as I can tell, which is part 2 of Kissy-Face Park, when Yoko is still alive, and perhaps we can save her. Let's find out. Summary of previous events. Shogo Okie is with Yoko Fukunaga at Kissy-Face Park, searching for one of the Seven Mysteries of Honjo. His interest in the occult starts to grow as he learns more about it from Yoko. Shall I restart or resume? I'm kind of... If I resume... I mean, I've completed... Let's... I'm just going to go in the menu and look at the... files, gameplay. We'll look at story tree. So I don't want to delete all my progress, basically. Chapters can be resumed from various points in the chapter. The game will not return to a previous game state when resumed. If you return to the story chart by using the suspend command that appears at certain points, it is the same as quitting and returning. Okay, it doesn't really help, does it? I'm just thinking if I resume, then it might just pick up where we left off with her dead. I guess we can find out. Let's resume and see what happens. We can come back, no doubt. Should we pick it up from something's happening to... Well, let's start from the middle, and then we might be able to change things from there. Wait, hang on. I've got another question. You mentioned the Rite of Resurrection. Are you looking for that too? Does it have something to do with the Seven Mysteries of Honjo? Oh, you're sharp. I could cut my finger on you. To tell the truth, it's actually the other way around. What do you mean? Well, I started off searching for the Rite of Resurrection, but along the way I realised that I needed to investigate the Seven Mysteries of Honjo first. I see. So then, why are you looking for the Rite? If you're looking a way to bring someone back from the dead, does that mean you've got someone you want to bring back? You know what, forget it. It just came to mind, so I thought I'd ask. I didn't mean to pry, sorry. No, it's fine. I figured I'd need to tell you at some point. It's Ogopogo. Ogopogo? Yeah, I want to bring Ogopogo back to life. He died in an accident about a month ago. Ogopogo died? Oh, right. Ogopogo was my dog. I had him for 8 years. Ah, okay. Your dog. Gotcha. So you spent a long time together. Losing him must have been really hard for you. Yeah. To be honest, I'm not sure if the ride even works on dogs. But as soon as I found out about it, I knew I had to give it a try. I don't think I could forgive myself if I just let the opportunity pass by. Definitely. Now I understand why you feel so strongly about it. Thanks for telling me. I know this must be hard to talk about. But you know what? All that led to me meeting you. So at least something good came out of it. Though that doesn't mean I'll stop looking, obviously. Yoko, I'll do everything I can to help you. Yay, I'm so glad to hear that. Let's keep up the hard work then, yeah? What's it got to do with the Seven Mysteries? Putting together everything we've talked about, my guess is that the original stories behind the Seven Mysteries, the true stories, are the key to finding the Rite of Resurrection. And that's why you're here searching for one of them. Do I have that right? Wow, 10 out of 10. You're proving to be quite the capable assistant. Wait, since when was I your assistant? Anyway, this is all just hearsay, but... Some say that what led to the Seven Mysteries coming to be was the Rite of Resurrection itself. Huh? Don't the stories come from the Edo period? I thought the Rite of Resurrection was supposed to be way older than that. Right, it seems that an onmyoji from the Edo period rediscovered the ancient art. That old manuscript I mentioned with all the details on how to use the rite, apparently was written in the Edo period. Oh right, I never told you its name. The manuscript is called the Record of Fates. Whoa, what a name. And it speculates that the secret of the rite is hidden within the Seven Mysteries of Honjo. So now the Seven Mysteries are the hot new trend. Among who? You know, this whole thing's starting to sound pretty questionable. Come on, remember when I said about the pursuit of the unknown? It starts with belief, right? Whoa! What the hell? Feels like the air just changed. What was that just now? Uh-oh, can we... Oh, here we go. I feel eyes on my back. I can't move. Is there something behind me? Yoko, are you okay? Hey, what's wrong? Stay with me. No, this can't be. No, no, no. Okay, well, we're not turning away from it. Let's think again. Something's got Yoko really rattled. She's just screaming. Yoko, Yoko! It's no use. She's in no condition to talk. Keep yelling her name. Huh? What? Is calling her name really going to help? I'm already yelling as hard as I can. Shouldn't I look for what's causing this? There's nothing there. Yoko, hang in there, Yoko. Look at me. You're going to be okay. It's all right. There's nothing there. Yoko! Aha, so we've moved into a different phase there. The story branch has split, so hopefully Yoko is now still alive. Let's find out. Part 3. Shogo cries Yoko's name in a desperate attempt to wake her as she lies, unmoving on the ground. Will his pleas get through to her? Back to 1 a.m. Kinshibori Park. Huh? Oh, good, you're awake. What? Are you okay? You were so rattled and confused, I thought you'd really lost it. Do you feel dizzy? You have a headache? Are your humours off balance? Wait, what did you say? I think I've heard that before. Oh, you're the one who said it earlier. Oh, right, that might have been it. My humours were off balance. What, back there? You ended up like that because of your humours? Yeah, I've heard that at this age your humours being even a little bit off can be fatal. What are they talking about? I'm glad you're back to normal now. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cause you so much trouble. But I really don't remember what happened. Sounds like what happened to me. Maybe this place is dangerous somehow. What? Are you backing out? Yeah, it just doesn't feel safe to me and I'm worried about you. Let's call off today's investigation. Come on, I just started feeling back to normal too. Nope, not happening. Go home. I'll even pay your cab fare, okay? I ended up having to force a still protesting Yoko into a taxi. Even then, she still wouldn't stop complaining. So, to placate her, I promised I'd search the park on my own for a little while longer. Okay, so we've skipped over all the Curstone stuff here. We're going back to Kinshibori Park. Worried about Yoko after her bizarre incident, Shogo decides to call off their investigation into the mysteries for the night. Despite her stubborn objections, he manages to persuade her by offering to continue the search on his own. "5 a.m, so it's the next morning. Time for a bit of polka. In further news, before dawn today, a police officer on patrol discovered a man collapsed in a Sumida city park. The man was taken to the hospital, but his death was confirmed shortly after. So, investigation's still underway, but police suspect a connection to the other unexplained deaths found in the area at around the same time. Is it meant to be us? I guess it is. So was that all an intro? So what was that? Over 2 hours? I hope it's not the end credits. I don't think so. It's supposed to be a reasonably long game. I mean, not long. I think someone said maybe 7 to 8 hours, something like that. Although I think people have been playing it for up to 9 or 10. But we'll see how it goes. But this is definitely just the intro sequence. I was just joking. Speed it along? Apparently not. Well done in your efforts thus far. This brings Shogo Oki's story to a close. Ah, but this is not the end, far from it. In fact, this is where the story finally begins. The roots of the 3 protagonists have now been unlocked. Haru Shigima, a woman who lost her son when he was kidnapped and murdered. Tetsuo Satsumi, the chief inspector of the 1st Investigation Division, who is looking into the death of an officer in the line of duty. Yako Sakazaki, a high school girl who wants to bring her friend back from the dead, a girl who died in a suspicious suicide. Each of them is burdened with circumstances that leave them no choice but to seek the right to resurrection. Following these 3 storylines will reveal the full nature of all that is occurring. With that, please enjoy the continuation of this tale. There we go, that was just an intro. So Shigo's dead. He sent Yoko off, went to look in the park himself, and ended up presumably being killed by one of the curse bearers, right? Oh well, poor Shogo. More to the point, I've got to come up with some other voices. Tell you what, let's start on that note. Let's start with Setsumo, or Tetsuo Satsumi, I should say. Crime Scene Investigation. Tetsuo Satsumi, Chief Inspector of the Metropolitan Police Department, 1st Investigative Division, is investigating the mysterious death of a fellow officer. He visits the scene of the incident, the former Yasuda Gardens, with his subordinate, Jun Nerio. (11 p.m) Former Yasuda Gardens. Hey boss, forensics is all done. The crime scene is clean. The other officers have all gone home. It's just us now. The park should be able to open up back up tomorrow like nothing ever happened. I doubt it'll get many visitors after everything that's happened. You'd be surprised. Oh, you'd be surprised. Lots of people love that kind of thing. I bet they'll be lining up to get in. Occult stuff is really popular right now. Did you not know that, boss? Sounds stupid. Well, it's not exactly rooted in science, but if ghosts really did exist, we could just ask them who the perp is. Somehow I doubt it'd be that simple. Oh, but you know, I've heard that high school girls are really into this spirit board thing these days. Supposedly you can call on spirits and talk to them using a board with letters on it. Wouldn't that be something? You can try it out yourself if you're so interested. Hey, that's not a bad idea. Let's give it a go sometime, boss. What now? Stop messing around. You really think we're going to solve this case by moving a coin across a scrap of paper? Sounds like you know all about it. Oh, his kissy faces are going to annoy me. We've got to be open-minded. What if that's how police work is going to be from now on? Don't make me laugh. Let's have a look. What have we got? Spirit board. Due to the occult craze, divination has become popular among young boys and girls. All one needs is a coin and a piece of paper with letters and numbers written on it. Using these, all one has to do is ask a question of the called-upon spirit, and it will move the coin in answer. It is believed to be a tool that was adopted from Western spiritualism and moulded by Japanese occult enthusiasts. Though it is considered a form of divination, the ritualistic nature of its usage can cause self-hypnosis or autosuggestion, leading to hallucinations or symptoms similar to spirit possession. Many schools banned these spirit boards after there were several cases of students sneaking into schools at night, in addition to stories of people having seizures when using the boards. Listen up, Ario. Oh, that kissy face. You can't go blaming the death of your buddy on something like the occult. I don't care if it was ghosts or the occult or what. Whoever or whatever it was that did this. I'll get them, I promise you that. Well, you got the right attitude, but we don't even know if this is a murder yet.
Biases weaken our judgment. Get too fixated on one thing and you stop seeing everything else.
Aye, aye, boss. So, now that we've finished investigating the scene, let's review what we know.
No, it's getting late. I figured we'd head straight home from here.
Come on, we've got to go over all the info we've gathered. And what better place to do that than here at the scene of the crime, where we can soak up the atmosphere and do kissy-face with each other.
Soak up the atmosphere? The hell is there to soak up? You must be really into this occult stuff if you get off on being in a place like this.
Wait, you mean being somewhere like this doesn't get your blood pumping? No way.
No, don't turn this around on me. I'm not the weird one here. Cripes. Fine, let's get this over with.
Aye, boss. Got 4 arms. Let's have a quick think.
I've got a bad feeling about this case, and my gut is rarely wrong. I knew this would be a treacherous case from the moment we were dragged into it.
Let's have a look at Jun.
Jun Ario, a detective in the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department, 1st Investigation Division. His rank is sergeant. This is his first time leading a case. It's like he's graduated from rookie to newbie. He looks put together on the outside, but acts like a kid most of the time. Honestly, the force could use more people like him.
Look at the scene. This is where the victim was found. It's clean now. It almost feels like nothing happened here at all. But once an incident like this has come to pass, there's no going back. Not that knowing that is any consolation. The surroundings. The former Yasuda Gardens here in Yokohama Ichomi were originally built as part of a daimyo's estate back in the Edo period. The park became city property a number of years ago and underwent extensive renovations. There is not a soul around at this time of night. Quiet doesn't even begin to describe it. Alright, let's have a looky. Oh, pond. This pond, they say it used to flow into the Sumida River. But the river became so polluted that they cut it off. Got a little bridge. I thought I saw something else. A hot spot there, but maybe it was just moving. Yeah, I think we're done. Okay, let's talk to the guy. About the case. So, early in the morning yesterday, a staff member found the victim collapsed here in the park and called the police when they realized he was dead. While there were no obvious external wounds, the fact that he was a police officer and the evidence of a struggle means it's likely that this was a murder. The Sumida officer sent it over to us since it involved the death of an officer, and we were tasked with the investigation. What we need to do is figure out what happened and whether there was foul play involved. I think that about sums it up. We could ask about the case again until we get a tick. But, boss?
Yeah.
Is this case really important enough to assign someone to someone from the investigation division? I mean, a friend of mine died, so it's important to me, but...
It's all up to the higher-ups. I'm sure they've got their reasons.
Boss, you know something, don't you?
It'll all become clear in time. Try not to worry about it too much.
Thinking about it, the only thing we know for sure is the identity of the victim. That means there must have been something special about him, right? Maybe he knew something he wasn't supposed to. Some kind of secret or something. Isn't that right?
You're pretty sharp sometimes, you know that? If you've picked up on that, you should be able to put the rest together yourself.
I still go about the case. We want to get these ticked off, so we've done as much as we can. So let's do it about the case again. Well, it is our duty to get to the bottom of a suspicious death, especially one involving an officer. Right, is that ticked off now? Oops, no. Take it back again. Yeah, about the victim. The victim is Hajime Yoshimi of the Juvenile Division of the Sumida City Community Safety Bureau. 27 years old, single. He mostly dealt with cases involving juveniles and education. His rank was senior police officer.
You knew him well, didn't you? What was he like?
Yeah, we were in the academy together. We still went out for drinks together every month or two. He could be a little rowdy, but he was like a big brother to us all. He was kind and cared about his friends. For better or for worse, he wasn't the uptight type of cop. The man always showed empathy, and I heard he was popular with the locals for it. He treated each and every troubled kid he met with compassion. He had a great track record when it came to rehabilitation.
Sounds like we lost a good one.
Yeah, we did. We truly did. I knew being a cop was dangerous. I knew something like this could happen, but
it's never easy when it happens for real. I know the feeling.
He didn't seem to care much about climbing the ranks, but he was at the top of our class. Only problem was that he took on so much, he had the most unfinished paperwork, too. I always felt we'd need an unusual guy like him to help us solve all our unusual cases. So we got Hajime Yoshimi, police officer with the Sumida City. I mean, we've heard all this, haven't we? Once a rebellious gang member himself, Yoshimi turned his life around and used his own experiences to connect with troubled youth as a police officer. While his appearance and demeanor suggested a man who was rough around the edges, he was a passionate, loyal, and caring man at heart, looked up to as a big brother by his peers. Yoshimi achieved stellar results in his work with juvenile cases, but his consistently sloppy paperwork and less than formal attitude essentially doomed his career and had him writing formal apologies on the regular. He left behind a fiancée whom he'd been dating since high school.
Don't worry, you're plenty unusual yourself.
Me? I was the most normal of my classmates. Look at my Kissy-Face. Besides, the real weirdo among us quit the academy a long time ago.
There was one even weirder than you?
There's a lot of stuff opening up. We're going on about the victim. Hajime was quite the bad boy in school, apparently. He ended up with the police a lot. He said the officer in charge was good to him, helped him get back on track. The reason he wanted to become a cop was to pay his kindness forward. Said it was the first time he ever took his studies seriously.
That's a good story. Love that kind of thing. Makes me want to have a drink in his honor.
Please don't make fun of my dead friend.
Hey, I said in his honor. You should aspire to become the kind of cop people miss when they die in the field.
You say that like it's a sure thing I'll die. Besides, if I end up biting it, I'm sure you'll be the one who misses me most, boss. Come on, don't be like that. You'll hurt morale.
Well, I guess how much I'll miss you depends on how this investigation goes.
I can already see it. Ariel, no! Why'd you have to go and get yourself killed?
I have no idea what's going on in that head of yours.
Yeah, that'll be a sight to see. Ha! I can't wait.
You can't wait for your own death. Ugh, get it together, kid. Sheesh, you really are something.
Thank you. Oh, we're still carrying on this one. Okay.
What about the victim's family?
The Yoshimi family is from Kitasenju in Adachi City, but Hajime's parents died a long time ago. He lived there all alone. No siblings or anything. I went to his house a few times for drinks. I was surprised. It's this huge, old-looking place. Like, you know, the kind of place that seems super haunted.
And he lived there alone?
Well, he'd kicked me out when I did my Kissy-Face. It looked like the home of an old noble family. It was hard to imagine him being such a delinquent living in a house like that.
There's that bias I was talking about. If he's from an old family, I'm sure things were complicated.
That's a bias, too. He never talked about any of that, even when we were drunk, so I don't know much about it. Oh, one more thing.
Yeah?
Hajime was engaged. He'd been seeing his fiancée ever since they were in school, over 10 years. They just started talking about getting married. What was her name again? He showed me a picture once. She was a beautiful woman.
That's so. How terrible for her. But she may know if there'd been anything going on with him lately. We should speak to her.
Yeah, his fiancée may have been his only confidant. I'm sure someone at the Sumida Police Department has already contacted her. I'll look into it tomorrow. Goodness me, we're still going. Hey boss. I looked into the case that Hajime was running.
No, great, that's the kind of stuff I want to know. What was Hajime working on the day he died?
Well, according to his report from the day before, he had 2 cases involving juveniles.
Uh-huh.
First was the suicide of a high school girl who jumped off a building in Kamizawa last week.
Now, yeah, I did hear about that.
The girl's name was Michio Shiraishi. She was a second-year student at Komagata High School. But it seems as though Hajime had contact with her even before this incident.
So she'd been troubled for some time.
That's the thing. About a month ago, he happened to see her walking around town. She looked upset, so he struck up a conversation with her. He was sure there was something bothering her, but she wouldn't tell him what.
There must have been trouble at home.
That's what he thought, too. I'm going to do my Kissy-Face while I think about it. It seemed he visited her home and spoke to her parents, but they said there was no problems. There was nothing else he could do. And now she's dead.
It's possible he could have prevented her suicide then.
He must have been devastated. And that's why he was looking into this Michio Shiraishi again. He must have thought that something terrible had happened that drove her to end her life. But ultimately, he'd never reported the findings of his investigation.
I see, and you're thinking that it may have had something to do with his death. We'll have to find out what it is Hajime discovered.
Right, let's check with the Sumida Police Department about that tomorrow, too. Oh my goodness.
And what was the other case he was working at?
This one is also related to a Komagata High School student. A troublemaker named Hitomi Okuda. She seems to be the leader of a group of kids who get up to no good.
Juvenile delinquency. Fun.
She was pretty bad for a while. Multiple charges of destruction of property, assault and battery, you name it. Hajime had been working with her for about 6 months, and she was finally starting to open up. Then, he met with the girl the day he died.
Well, every school's got its problems. But I'm sure he'd be worried about how she'd get on without him.
Right, just when she'd finally found an adult she could trust. She might act out without someone to help her get through this.
We'll have to make sure the Sumida Community Safety Bureau does their job. But... we can't rule out the possibility that meeting with this delinquent girl had something to do with his death. Then we'll have to interview her too.
Yeah, you're right. I don't do this Kissy-Face for nothing. She may have been the last person to see him alive, after all. I'll ask Sumida to introduce us tomorrow. Though, who knows if they'll actually let us talk with her.
That's what we've hired you for. Lay a little boyish charm on them if they need convincing. And if nothing else, there's always the Kissy-Face.
Yeah. My Kissy-Face. I'm sure they prefer me over a scary-looking old man like you, boss. Mwah.
Watch it, I'm still your superior. You ought to act like you at least respect me.
Oh, I thought I was.
You were? Shit, is that just how your generation speaks? You really are a new breed.
Yeah, it's probably just me, actually.
Yeah, well, don't think you can get away with that with other people.
So, anyways, boss.
Were you even listening?
We got quite a bit to look into tomorrow. First, the 2 Komagata High School cases that Hajime was handling. And we need to speak with his fiancée as well. I believe that's it for tomorrow. Okay, I don't think we need to read through that. We've just gone through it in great depth. So that's probably that done now. So let's look at the cause of death. As for the cause of death, we won't know until the autopsy's done. From what we've seen, though, it'd appear to be some kind of acute heart failure. But since he had no record of chronic illness and had no visible wounds, it is possible that poison or drugs could have been involved.
Dying in the middle of the park like that, it certainly seems suspicious.
We found signs of a struggle at the scene, as well as footprints belonging to an unidentified individual. We've got people trying to identify those prints.
If we can find out who they belong to, you might be able to figure this whole thing out.
Yes, wouldn't that be nice if that were the end of it? The only things Hajime had on him were his badge and his wallet in his pockets.
So we can rule out a mugging. Though there probably aren't many people who'd think to try mugging a cop as big as him.
I've also heard that Hajime got into a fair few fights in his younger days. He started judo once he became an officer and rose up the ranks quickly.
Sounds like the perp would have to have been pretty strong to take on Hajime.
Time of death was around 11 p.m. 2 days ago. Outside of the park's operating hours, of course. His body was found early in the morning yesterday.
11 p.m., the day before yesterday? What was Hajime doing out here at that time in the first place?
I mean, that's the question, isn't it? The entrance to the park is closed after hours. Mwah. But it's a small gate that'd be fairly easy for him to get through if he really wanted to. Mwah. That would, of course, be breaking and entering, but what do you think, boss?
Someone called him here. It's hard to imagine a couple like Hajime would trespass for no reason. And since it seems like someone else was here with him, could they have called him here?
Oh, that does seem likely.
They must have been talking about something pretty sensitive to come here in the middle of the night. So Hajime met someone here to discuss something in secret.
Hang on. And then they got into a fight?
No, that wouldn't match the cause of death. There were no wounds on the body that would indicate a spontaneous scuffle. The perp must have planned something.
Then you think it was premeditated? That would mean they called Hajime to the park with the intent to kill him.
Well, there is still a possibility that it was just some kind of accident. Maybe the perp tried to threaten Hajime and things went south from there. We should be able to get a clearer picture once we know exactly what killed him.
Right. About Satsumi. But either way, I'm so glad you're back in the First Division, boss. I've always admired your work. You were like a god to me. You were the whole reason I became a detective in the first place.
Yeah, about that. People have been saying that ever since you first entered the academy, but,
Yeah, that's because it's true. I couldn't believe you got transferred out of the First just as I was assigned to it. So getting to work a case like this now, just the two of us, is a dream come true.
Happy as I am to hear that, well, how should I put it?
What is it?
If that's true, I'm not sure you've been showing me the appropriate amount of respect.
Huh? But I do respect you. Don't tell me you're going senile, boss.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, when you run your mouth like that.
Yeah, it's getting late. You must be sleepy. Don't worry, boss. I'll make sure we get out of here soon.
Yeah, I get it.
I've been wowed by your shrewd detecting abilities all day today.
No, really. Funny, I've been wowed by you too.
Okay. On the topic of family, what's yours like, boss?
The hell is wrong with you? Stop doing that Kissy-Face. Prying into my personal life all of a sudden.
It's just I've never heard you talk about them or anything. Oh, are you single?
Shut it, there's none of your business.
Well, ever since I joined the force, I've been thinking. This is my thinking face now. The department really pressures young officers to get married. I wonder why that is. You don't say anything like that, though.
How should I know? I caved to the pressure myself and got married 20-some years ago.
Huh? So then...
God, you're relentless. She took our daughter and left 4 years ago. Thanks for reminding me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't believe she'd give up a guy like you.
Yeah, I was never home much. Too focused on work. I come home late only to get called right back out again. Plus, being a cop is dangerous work. I don't blame her for getting fed up with it all.
How sad, especially when you're out here putting your life on the line. Oh, is that why you transferred out of the First?
It was already too late by then. You'd better be careful, Ario.
You say that, but there's not much I can do, is there? That's the nature of our job. Of course, with a face like this, I'd be lucky if I get married anyway. There aren't many people who can really understand it, not unless they're involved with police work themselves or related to someone who is. But wait, you have a daughter, boss?
You really think I want to talk about her after all that? Have some sense.
Come on, I promise I don't mean this the way it sounds, but, how old is she?
Geez, you don't know when to quit, do you? At least try to not look so intrigued. She's a bit rough around the edges. I think most men are intimidated by her. The last I heard, she's living by herself and going to college.
Wow, a college student. Men love an educated lady.
Stop that. What kind of cop are you making baseless assumptions like that?
She's living on her own, though, huh? You must worry about her.
Worry? I don't even know where she lives.
Oh, so she hasn't told you. Probably because she knows you'd follow her around everywhere.
I would not. I don't think.
Come on now, we both know that's not true.
Listen here.
You may look like a mean old man, but you sure have a soft side.
What? Is that supposed to be a compliment? I can't keep up with you. We're done talking about this.
Is that... Oh, I still got more. Oh, that reminds me. If you got married 20 years ago, it must have been right around the Najima murder.
You know your history. Yeah, that happened a year or two after our wedding.
You were the one who arrested the killer, weren't you? We studied that case at the academy. I was only in elementary school at the time, but I still remember people talking about some dangerous criminal getting arrested.
All that was just, cracking the case, finding the guy. It was all just happenstance. I'd really rather not think about it. It was a disturbing case. Did it not make your skin crawl when you learned about it at the academy?
It did. We were all terrified.
Sounds about right. No one could believe that such a mild-mannered man could have committed such a terrible murder. If we'd overlooked one little thing, we may never have caught him at all.
I think I remember hearing there was only one charge brought against him in the end.
That's right. We didn't have the evidence. And I knew there was no way such a meticulously planned crime could have been there first, but... we may have stuck Fumichika Nejima in a cell, but it was no victory. He always had the upper hand. And all the damage he did to everyone involved, especially the victim's classmates. It's already been 20 years, huh? God damn it. This is why I try not to think about it.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'll read this because we didn't really understand what happened from that. The Nejima murders. A notorious case from over 2 decades ago involving the murder of a female high school student. It first came to the attention of the authorities when part of a human left hand was discovered floating in the Sumida River. Testing revealed it to belong to a missing female high school student, and as it appeared to have been severed deliberately, the police launched a murder investigation. Does that sound a bit like the one-sided read mystery? A large-scale search of the river was organised, but the highly polluted state of the water made this impossible. Visibility was poor, the stench was intense, and the divers quickly fell ill. They succeeded in recovering only the victim's head and what appeared to be part of her leg before the search was called off. At the time of the incident, the Sumida River was as polluted as it had ever been. Neither fish nor shellfish could survive in it, eventually causing the annual fireworks festival to be called off indefinitely. Over the course of the search, the police discovered a number of unidentified human bones. This caused a stir among the public as several other young women had gone missing in recent years in the Tokyo area, and it was feared that they may have fallen victim to the same fate. Forensic technologies at the time, however, were not advanced enough to determine the identities of the deceased, and so the police were unable to open any inquiries. Quite a long one, this. Due to the overwhelming lack of circumstantial evidence, the investigation ground to a halt until a hitherto unrelated individual came to its attention. During a questioning about a separate incident, Fumichika Nejima, a 36-year-old shop owner with no relation to the victim, divulged details about her that had never been released to the general public. An investigation into his background was conducted, leading to his arrest. Nejima testified that he had snatched his victim from the street and confined her in the underground storeroom of his shop, which also served as his living quarters. He chose her for no special reason, but simply decided she was an opportune target on seeing her walking alone at night. After keeping her locked up for several days, he restrained her, sewed her mouth shut, and severed her fingers and toes with a box cutter while she was still conscious. As she screamed silently behind her sealed lips, he proceeded to her wrists, her ankles, her elbows, her knees, working his way inward slowly and methodically. His victim constantly wavered in and out of consciousness. Her ordeal continued until she died of blood loss. Nejima dismembered the rest of her body and disposed of it behind his home in the Sumida River before cleaning his storeroom and returning to his everyday routine as if nothing had happened. The brutality of his actions shocked the nation when they were eventually reported. Once apprehended, Nejima readily divulged the details of the murder, but was less willing to explain his motive. When asked, he would only break down in tears, saying, "I don't know what came over me. I know it was wrong." In the end, the police could extract nothing more from him than expressions of remorse, although the efficiency of his methods strongly suggested that he had committed similar crimes in the past, but no corroborating evidence ever came to light. Nejima was sentenced to life in prison at his first hearing. The sentence was imposed with no appeal from the defendant. There we go. Okay, so about the occult. This is my thinking face again. So all this occult stuff, have you ever heard about it, boss?
What are you talking about?
This rite of resurrection thing that everyone's talking about.
Oh, not you too. I've been hearing about that shit everywhere.
Oh, you have? That's surprising. This is my surprised face as well.
Who cares what people are talking about? It's got nothing to do with our job.
But don't you think the occult stuff with this case feels, I don't know, realer somehow? The whole thing started right here in Honjo in Sumida City, so I thought that maybe...
Cut it out. Nothing good can come of getting involved with that rite of whatever or that record of fates.
Sounds like you know all about it. Boss, are you secretly into the occult?
Stop that, seriously. This isn't a joke. I get why you'd be intrigued by something called the Rite of Resurrection after a buddy of yours died, but... bringing the dead back to life. That's the stuff of fantasy. It's not real. So don't go hoping for miracles, got it?
Well, boss, I think that about does it.
Right, let's call it for tonight. I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh.
Oh God, what is that?
Huh? Boss, what's wrong? Just look into my Kissy-Face. Don't tell me you're going senile.
Damn it. It was that case all along.
Boss, what is it? Is there something over there?
Ah! Such deep sorrow. A resentful memory is forcing itself into my mind. Kill them. Kill them. Those who spread lies. Kill them all.
You have acquired the power of the Curse Stone, the Evergreen Beach. You can use it to kill those who intentionally try to mislead you. Press the Use Curse button when someone lies to you. Yeah, that's the legend tree. That's what our stone looks like. Kills by hanging one who tries to mislead the curse bearer with false statements. A resentful memory. He deceived us with his so-called rite of resurrection. The man who tricked the people with his false dark arts swings from a rope. They thought the man had escaped the previous night, but oddly enough he was found hanging in the garden of the daimyo's mansion that morning. The man, a local named Jinkichi, was known for his kind temperament and skill in crafting Netsuki clasps. While his life wasn't always easy, he was optimistic, the type to smile through whatever life threw at him. He was the kind of man who would take care of those who didn't have anyone else to rely on. The prosperity that the ukiyo boom brought must have been what fanned the flames of his greed. The old craftsman was found in a miserable state, as if sentenced to some cruel fate. Perhaps he'd ended his own life, unable to bear the weight of his crime. But dead men tell no tales, and the people thought of him as a bad man, even in death. He hung there for days, till his neck stretched horrifically, a visage of pain still etched on his face. It was clear he must have struggled greatly as he died, his flesh marked with dark scars with the rope wrapped around his whole body. The beech tree's leaves do not fall, and neither did the man's body hanging from it, as the mansion's owner was not at home. Another unfortunate event. The people held their tongues, fearing divine punishment. The rumours persisted nonetheless. A murderous impulse seeps into my soul like thick black tar. Now, kill. Can you hear it, curse bearer? You who so strongly desires the right. Kill them. It is genuinely freaky when those curse things start up, I will say. Boss! Boss! How are your humours? What's the matter? Don't tell me you really went senile.
Now the first thing I see is your goddamn Kissy-Face. Sorry, I'm fine. Ario.
Yes?
I have some bad news.
Oh no, your senility is kicking in, isn't it?
No, we've got a bit of trouble on our hands. Looks like we'll be working some overtime. We're not going home tonight.
Huh? What are you talking about? Ooh. Okay, that was intriguing. It's cool this. So you do a chapter and then you can maybe jump into a different character, sort of progress their thing. But it's a little bit shorter than my other videos in the series. But I think rather than leap into a new scene and perhaps have to leave it midway through, I think we'll leave it there for now. So thanks very much for watching this episode of Paranormasight. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Plus, taking a break gives me a chance to think if I can redo voices of the characters. Well, we never really spoke to Yako, did we? So I don't know what she could be. Harui was kind of creepy. Maybe she's not. I don't know. When you actually are playing her, we'll have to see. But yeah, if you did enjoy this video, as I hope you did, then please do hit the thumbs up button. Leave a comment as well. Let me know what you think about the game. Were you surprised by anything that's happened so far? There's been a few twists and turns that have caught me. And yeah, if you're watching this and haven't subscribed already to the channel, then please do, because it would be great to have you. So thanks very much once again, and I'll hope to see you again for the next episode of Paranormasight, the Seven Mysteries of... I've forgotten where the Seven Mysteries are of, but they're there. So, yeah, Bye for now.